Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm here with our one and only Ona. Hi, Ona.
Hey,
Um,
how are you? Everything good?
I'm a little warm, to be
Yeah,
perfectly honest with you.
yeah.
How are things in Chicago? I
It
mean,
was really, it was a nice day today. It was much cooler. It was breezy. It was sunny, just, clouds coming in and out. It was a weird smell. Like it's such a beautiful day and it smelled like somebody puked in the parking lot, right? Like it just put a just bad flavor on stuff. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know if people, we're in between a restaurant and a grocery store. People were throwing out garbage from the
yeah,
weekend.
sometimes it's that. Sometimes it is that because
Yeah.
I was like, I said to Michael the other day, I said, I think something died outside. And it ended up just being the garbage. I mean,
Yeah.
the actual can was just stinky. So we,
Yeah.
we sprayed it down and everything. But it's, so hot that you
Yeah.
can't, you can't really.
Oh, it was, yeah. But it was a nice day. Not too hard. Not too much work today.
Good, good. It's
Yeah.
still hot here. It's still muggy, which is, I don't, again, I don't mind hot or I don't love it, but I don't mind it. And I do like, as long as there's a breeze, I'm usually okay.
Yeah.
Even a hot breeze or a wet breeze, as long as it's a breeze,
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
I
Yeah.
can function better.
Yeah. I need air circulating all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah. All the time, everywhere. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, as long as there's movement.
right.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to talk about the new moon coming up in Leo. Um, last uh, last month's moon shadows, we talked about a very powerful and transformational moon, and that it might be actually challenging. And I think we both had our challenges, right?
Mhm.
In the intervening month. So we can expect it's a different energy though to me. The energy of the new moon in Cancer felt very Saturnian.
Yeah.
A lot of like being held accountable and all of this stuff. Like there's a lot of that energy. As you sow, so shall you reap kind of energy. And this one feels a little bit more erratic or a little bit more chaotic, like you said in the pre-call. I guess that's not a pre-call, but anyway, when we were just chit-chatting before we got on, that it was felt very chaotic. You have a little bit more exposure to people because you work at the garden center. How have people been?
Um, it's been you know what, I hate to say, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but it's been a kind of an odd crowd.
Hmm.
Yeah. Been really, people just, I don't know. There's a just kind of a weirdness in the air there. Everybody's asking for discounts more than discounts, but uh, just some strange behavior, odd people. And no, it happens every year, but it seems like it's accelerating more right now.
Right. Well, there's a lot of fire in the sky right now. Right. There's a lot of fire, water, not a lot of air. It's and so when there's not a lot of air, it's like
Yeah.
it feels like
Yeah.
that, and everybody's hot under the collar. And when, yeah, I know my mood changes when I'm hot. I mean, don't leave me alone. Usually I'm pretty jolly, but make it hot and sweaty
Yeah.
and the like, and it's just like,
Exactly. That kind of thing. I know the fighting, people fighting in the parking lots, cars hitting each other in the parking lot and taking off like that happened today. So yeah, this like weird little chaos thing. It's, kind of, I do a blessing in the greenhouse every day, so I feel very protected there.
right.
But yeah, outside of it, it seems like there's just some.
You might have to expand that protection into the parking lot, Mona.
I'm gonna have to next time. I go back on Wednesday.
So this new moon, of course, is in the sign of Leo, and Leo is the sign associated with our ability to express ourselves. And so people seem to be expressing themselves, and what they're feeling, right? What they're feeling. It's a new moon in Leo. And let me see if I have my little book here. It's got the Sabian symbols. What have you been sensing? I know you talked about amber.
Yeah, yeah, this morning. So when when I start to, I have to ask if I have to focus on this. I'm like, okay, Spirit, give me whatever. And I'll go outside and I'll have my notebook and pen. If I have to write something down, what do you need to tell me about the new moon? And just sit quiet if it's quiet. If it's not quiet, then I have to put on some beats and just kind of pick up on that. The jasmine on the upstairs balcony is blooming like crazy, like just so many blooms on there. It's almost kind of nauseating. So I'm like, what can you deliver? So first thing was, dragonflies. I mean, that was like, this project started because of this cycle.
Yes.
So the dragonfly theme and amber again, amber. I'm picking up on amber and I'm like,
Well, amber is, and I just had my amber beads. What did I do with them? I brought them especially. Now I can't find them. I have amber earrings on them. It's petrified sap, so it's
right.
petrified sunlight, really, right?
Yeah.
And
And
so because it's,
ancestral too, because it
yeah,
archives, right? And this is part of a new moon cycle, like this Leo new moon also, the resin, right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, because Leo is the life giver, right? It's the ruler is the sun, and without the sun, we could not sustain life, right? You need the fire of the sun, but you also need the water, because without fire and water, we couldn't manifest, really.
yeah,
And we have plenty of that, it seems. The South Node in Scorpio, and you know, and then of course Jupiter in Aries is making things hot. And it stay after the new moon, it stations retrograde. So
yeah.
whenever a planet stations or stands still, it builds power,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and you can feel it. You can feel it in the air. You can feel it in the air. Um,
yeah.
it's very interesting.
I also have noticed a lot of people sort of being unable to make up their mind, unable to make a decision, changing things up, walking back in, even maybe it was just the Gemini moon over the past couple of days where it's hard to make up your mind kind of thing.
Too many options.
It's square in Jupiter too, maybe it was part of that. I don't like this, let's change it, that kind of thing. It's just chaotic. It's just
Yeah.
chaotic.
Well, the energy of the whole week is pretty intense because we have the new moon. We also have Saturn. We have Mercury squaring the nodes, and then we have Saturn making an exact opposition to Mercury. So we have a giant fixed cross in the sky. And then we have Uranus conjoin the North Node. Then we have Mars conjoin Uranus. And then we have Mars conjoin the North Node. So it's like we're getting inspired first, and then Mars and Uranus comes together and something happens, and
Yeah.
then Mars hits the node and gets its sort of marching orders. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like quick changes that are likely to happen as
Yeah.
this new moon, as we have this new moon, and then we move into the beginning of August. So it's pretty intense. We're in it. So you're feeling it. It's
Yeah.
intense. It's intense energy.
Yeah.
I want to share something. I wanted to just share this picture because it's one of my favorite pictures of the strength card. So let me share that screen. I think it's worth taking a look at, just for a visual.
Yeah, that card's been coming up a lot in personal readings too.
Strength. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. In fact, I think I might have done a reading on Joe Biden's health. I don't think I did it for people. I think I did it for myself. And I
Yeah.
think strength was in the reading, but I should maybe just do one of those. Check that out. You could do one too. That would be fun. And then we could compare notes. Not
Yeah.
this time, but separately and then together maybe. Yeah, so the strength card is it's the 8 vibration. It's the as you sow, so shall you reap vibration, right? It's about raising the fire like in the belly up to past our carnal nature to our spiritual nature. It's really about the rising of the Kundalini,
Mm-hmm.
this chart, and this card. And in fact, let me share something else with you.
That's really interesting. The art on the trees here is exactly like the dragonfly tails on the flatware I'm using to make those dragonflies.
And it looks like your
The
leather work
flatware.
behind you.
Yeah, and some of the mandala stuff. I love
Yeah.
this card. What deck is
I
this?
don't know if it's a deck or if it's just an artist. I can't remember. I did at some
Should
point
be a
look it
deck.
up, but it should be a deck. It's beautiful. And the hermit card from the hermit iconology, I guess, because I
Mhm.
don't think it's an actual card, is phenomenal as well. And she does a beautiful job. I think it's a woman. There's a name down there. It looks
Mm,
like something FB, maybe LFB or
later
CFB,
yeah,
2013. But I think it's beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. But if we look at it on the Tree of Life, let me share that. And you're gonna laugh because it's the same picture, but you might remember this from our class, right? So this path of strength is called the 19th path on the Tree of Life. It's the intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities. So it is the Kundalini force. The presence of the inner spiritual force creeps to the surface and materializes in the waking consciousness. The presence of creative spirit is perceived. New potentials and change, overcoming the lower nature through love. The balance between construction and destruction, catabolism and anabolism. I never say that one right. As you sow, so shall you reap. So, and it's located energetically in the throat chakra,
Mhm.
which kind of makes sense because Leo is about self-expression.
Yeah,
Leo is about self-expression.
yeah.
So I've sort of been pondering this as well. And I was thinking that this is the time that we came in to be our light, right? Leo is about the light of the sun. The light, this it's ruled by the sun, which is called Sol, Sol, right? Solomon, the complete man. So this is a real initiation, and in Kabbalah, Solomon is found in Tiphereth, which symbol is the six-pointed star.
Mm.
It's the balance of the masculine and the feminine, right? The lower self and the higher self brought together in the heart. And so this new moon deals with being in our heart, doing what we love, loving what we do. And I think it's going to be the only way, honestly, that we're going to be able to navigate this time, because when you're dealing with the Iranian energies that we're dealing with, there's no way to control it, and there's no way to know what's going to happen.
Right.
You just have to go with it. But if
Yeah.
you're focused on that which brings the most light into your life, then you are helping the cause of enlightenment. And
Isn't that, well, don't we always run to comfort ourselves and do something we love when we're startled or struck with a challenge, or even when we love to do something like, run to a cigarette, or, when we have a Uranian challenge coming, we always run to something we love. Think about that. That's cool.
I was talking to Michael today about,
Oh,
there have been times in his life, my life, probably your life, where you've really been challenged by something,
mhm.
and the creative energy, the art that you create, or whatever it is that you're creating. You might be creating a class, you might be creating a work of art, you might be, decorating your house, whatever it is that sort of opens that up for you. I find is some of our best artwork has been all my stained glass fairies I did after a friend of mine ran away with an ex-boyfriend,
Yeah.
and then ended up marrying him, which if she had asked me, I would have told her not to do it because it was a big mistake. And I missed my friend way more than I missed the guy. The guy was just, like a temporary, stopover kind of. But my friend was my friend, and it was really hard. She was a Leo actually, which is interesting. But we're friends again. I mean, we are close as close can be. Um, because we tend to sometimes we do things that are not in
Mhm.
our own best interest. And I think one of the things that Leo teaches us is to do our things in our own best interest.
Yeah.
And some people don't need that lesson, like an ex-president I'm thinking about, but not thinking a lot about, but just mention, like, going through my head. But then most of the people I know could use a good healthy dose of egotism, quite frankly, because a lot of people make sacrifices for other people, and they're always doing for others, and they put themselves last. It has to do with the feminine, right? That's how we were raised. But
Yeah.
once the kids are raised, we get to pretty much do what we want to, do what you do.
Mhm.
And, some of us who don't have children are lucky enough to do what you do, the whole time. But um, I don't know. It's just, and Leo, just like Cancer, is that, like, Cancer is the mother and Leo is the father. In fact, the symbol for Leo, some people think it's the lion with the tail, but
Yeah.
some I've read where some have said it's sperm,
I could see that.
right?
Yeah.
And of course Leo is your progeny, it's your children, it's your creative, and I have come to call you now the mother of dragons, the mother of dragonflies, right? So I noticed that you will have these bursts of creativity, and they're thematic.
Yep.
Um, just like my husband Michael does. And he's an artist as well. So, so if you're an artist, do your art. If you're a singer
Yeah.
and dancer, do a jig, whatever. If you're a baker, bake cookies for everybody, including me, by the way. No, just kidding.
You
But
know, a song comes to my head by Mount Joy, and it's I think it's Silver Lining, and it's where your one of the lyrics is wear your silver lining close to your skin.
yes,
Isn't that neat?
I found
Wear
it.
yeah, wear your silver lining close to your skin. Yeah, got to do the amber again. I know this wasn't that long ago, but Amber was on an altar, and was it that one in April, the edible altar?
Well, would April have been? Would it have been Taurus, or would it have been
It was
Aries?
Venus, and I think it was when Venus was conjunct Jupiter, and now Venus is square Jupiter, but some of that theme from the end of April stuff, springtime.
Yeah, yeah. And Venus and Jupiter, they conjoined in Pisces, right? They were in Pisces when they conjoined.
I think so, before Jupiter jumped into,
Yeah. And so Venus in Pisces is exalted, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler of
yeah,
Pisces. So you can't get more powerfully Piscean than that combination, unless you have Neptune along with it. And Neptune wasn't that far away.
yeah,
Neptune was also in Pisces. It was probably a good 6 or 7 degrees away, but it was still kind of conjunct, I think, because I
yeah.
think that conjunction happened at 17 of Pisces. In fact, I have it in my week ahead video. I actually have I think I pulled the chart up for that. But yeah, this whole year to me just has felt from the very beginning that this was the year of the feminine, that this was the year that the feminine were just going to say no, no more. And I'm seeing it. I mean, you're seeing it with Liz Cheney, you know, wearing her. I don't know if you watched the ones that happened at the 8 o'clock at night, the eighth
Mhm.
one. She was wearing white, like a white blazer, and that was the color of the suffragettes.
Yeah.
So for her, and she even talked about. I heard her talking. And I'm not a big Liz Cheney fan, so don't get me wrong. I have to always put that caveat because people get crazy sometimes. With, you know what? You know how she, you know what she stands for? Yeah, I do. I do. But you know, sometimes I think we have to look at these things archetypically.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about Joe. You know how we were kind of going back and forth last night about Joe. You were a little concerned about him, and I was thinking about that today. I thought to myself, you know, everybody's like, oh, he can't run in 2024. He can't. You know, everybody's worried about what's happening like 2 years from now. We
Yeah.
have so many problems right in front of us. We have to like deal with what's in front of us. And one
Yeah.
thing about Uranus, this Uranus North Node Mars after the new moon thing, and Jupiter stationing, and then Jupiter makes a trine to the sun.
Yeah.
So it's
Really being
very
forced to live in the moment, like forced to live in the moment.
that's what
No
crisis does.
choice. Yeah.
That's what crisis does. Crisis forces us to be in the moment. And
Yeah.
so we've had to do that now for how many years? I mean, we have been in a state of, I know me personally, I've probably been in a state of crisis, well, my whole life, but if we just like chunk it down to smaller like things, definitely, 2010, 2011, there was a big shift, 2012. And then from 2012 to 2015, it was like,
Yeah.
it's like, talk about the proverbial shit hitting the fan.
Yep.
But it was a storm that I was able to um, move through and get to the other side of, and I'm grateful for that. But it's also I've had an enormous amount of wisdom um, downloaded to me that like a lot of realizations, a lot of those aha moments that
Hmm.
Oprah talks about, but like, so
Yeah.
some of them have been hard. I mean, the whole Trump thing was very hard.
Yeah.
Those first 2 years, I mean, I almost, when George W. Bush was president, I had to go on a homeopathic remedy because I was so upset about the whole Iraq and
Yeah.
Afghanistan thing and all of that.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had to get medicated for that one. And this one, just really tested Trump's presidency, really tested my bonds of love.
Yeah.
People I care about and people I don't care about, which sounds terrible, but you know, if they didn't agree with me, it was a real challenge. If they saw him as some sort of, savior, it was beyond my rational mind that they would even think that.
Yeah.
Then when I dug deeper into my heart, if the person meant something to me, it doesn't matter what they think. And I
Hmm.
think that that's part of the magic that we can get from this new moon is to really sort of base it in love, base it in the commonality, the threads that hold us together, right? The web of life. And the earth is acting up, we're acting up, everybody's acting up. It's
Yeah.
not different. We're all going through this evolutionary process together. You know, it's not just us and the whales,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know.
I know. I know. It's just such a crazy kind of time. It's hard to focus, you know. It's hard to be in the moment. You're always like trying to be one step ahead. And I like this. I like to just try and I be as present as possible. Just try and be as present as possible and not
Well, let's take a look at you want to look at the new moon, the chart? Is that good?
yeah.
Okay, let's pull it up. All right. Hopefully I have it up. All right, let's see what we have here. Oh, you know what? I have to do this. All right, I'm just talking to myself, folks. Oh, so here's Liz Cheney's chart, right? Speaking of Liz Cheney, in fact, the new moon is on her birthday.
Right.
So she's having a new, yeah, I'm not sure if it's balsamic in her chart for her. Well, we don't know. We don't know if it's balsamic
Because there's no time.
because, oh no, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can't remember if it's balsamic or new. I think it might be balsamic for her. So if that's the case, the sun and the moon is balsamic to her sun. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think her birthday is a little after the new moon. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, we'll see.
I
We
think
will
so.
definitely. Go ahead, honey.
We looked at that last week. I think it was just after her solar return was just after or the week before her the new moon. Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Hmm.
Now I'm just trying to find the chart. Okay. Oh, all right. Let's see. Here we go. I must be up here. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening this week. It's really, really, really. Let me see. This is what I want to look at. Yep. Okay. So this is the new moon in Leo for the U.S. It's happening at 1:55 p.m. on the East Coast. So that's just 5 minutes before 2 and 5 minutes before 1 in Chicago, in your place. But we can see it's right up there in that ninth house, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
The ninth house is the house of truth. It's associated with truth. It's not necessarily the house of truth.
Sagittal,
It's
right?
ruled by Sag, right? And Sag is the search for meaning. And so this would be a good time to even get a reading because it helps you to um, have a plan. Have a plan. Like, what is it that you want?
Mhm.
What is it that you know that you're called to do? Because you
Right.
usually know. I mean, when I see clients,
Confirming that, right? Confirming your calling.
confirmation. That's right, because they usually know.
Yeah.
They usually know. And what I find is that with clients, very often I'll just talk to them like I know them. And it's only because I know their chart. And when they hear that, they're like, oh my God, so I am the way I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
Like it's so affirming. It's such an affirming experience. And I think it's very important for us to be ourselves, whoever that is, instead of wasting time on being somebody that other people want you to be. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, yikes. It's
Yeah.
funny because I'm reading this book and I mentioned it
Mhm.
the other day in the morning, and one of my watchers sent me a whole bunch of books with the similar themes, and now I have my whole summer reading list is like downstairs, but it's Sue Monk Kid, The Book
Yeah.
of Longings. Have you
Yeah.
read this?
I didn't, I've not, I have Secret Life of Bees in the stack of just in case I die books.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right? For my kid. And Secret Life of Bees is in it. Yeah.
Have you read that?
I've read Secret Life of Bees. I've not read this
Right.
one.
Yeah, I haven't read The Secret Life of Bees, but I did see the movie. I think
Yeah.
that was the one with Alicia Keys, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe Jennifer Hudson was in it or something. Anyway, yeah, that was a great movie. So here's a chart, and then we can't miss. Oh, here's Ceres, our friend Ceres, right? Reaping, the great reaper here with her
Mhm.
sickle. She's still opposite Pluto, um, and sort of moving on, and Pluto's moving backwards, which I think is a good sign. Um, and then, of course, this whole configuration here in the seventh house of relating. Now, this is and law. So there's a lot of law here. I feel like there's a lot of like changing of laws, and I know that doesn't happen that fast. So I can't imagine what that really means
Mhm.
unless this is just the seed being planted for that. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
certainly they can take away a law pretty easily, but they can take away a right, but it seems a lot harder to get rights. It seems a lot easier for people to take them away,
Yeah.
you know. But, with Uranus on that north node, it's very, I wish I had I'll read the Sabian symbol. I know where I can find it. Do you, as I look for that,
So
what do you see here? Do you,
that it's a Venus ruled kind of configuration, right? The seventh house is a Libra sign ruled. Venus is a ruler. Taurus, where all this activity is happening, Venus is a ruler. She's in Cancer. It's got just a lot of Venusian energy. Maybe that's where all this sort of amber and trying to eat my way through it. I almost got baklava too the other day. I'm like, why? I'm going to put that on the altar, looking for the spring honey that's local around here. It's
well,
got a,
we
and
also
she's
see
right
that.
next to frickin' Lilith. Oh,
That's
excuse me.
right. That's okay. Nobody will notice that one little.
So that's like spicy honey. That's the
Yeah,
spicy chocolates.
yeah, killer bee honey. Oh my God. Yes.
Medicinal honey.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And in the eighth house, the transformation of the feminine,
Yeah.
the transformation of the feminine. And of course, Mars in Taurus, it answers to Venus.
Mm-hmm.
Venus is, while Mars is in Taurus, Venus is going to be in Cancer, but then I think it might even move into to Leo as well. While Mars is, I haven't actually checked that, but the difference between Venus and Cancer and Venus and Leo is quite a difference. So that's even more like She-Ra, like Sheba, the queen of the jungle kind of energy, running around. Raquel Welch running around in her loincloth at 2000, was it 1000 BC?
Yeah.
Yeah, fighting off dinosaurs and stuff. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then here we have Jupiter station, and it's trine. It's trine the north node. It's trine the new moon, and then the moon's going to move on and trine Jupiter, and then the sun's going to move on and trine Jupiter. So that's a lot of, and Jupiter, because it's stationed, like builds up all that energy. So it's very powerful. Let me read the Sabian symbol for this degree. Let me just find it. I have it. I can't see. Okay.
Wow.
Mind from there. Just give me a moment here. If you see anything else that you want to add to it, please do.
It's going to be a really interesting cycle.
I feel like we have to, I would almost dare say we need to be ourselves in order to survive. That's what it feels like to me. Like you have to be 100% you. And I don't actually, and I think that's the power in this because it's going to be a bumpy ride and there's going to be a lot of change. And the ride really is not going to, I haven't looked far enough ahead to know exactly like if there's a lull in the action. I doubt it. But this is sort of like we're rolling into the midterms. And of course the midterms are on an eclipse.
Yeah.
And it's a south node eclipse. So it's going to be a huge like shedding of something. Huge shedding of something. So let's take
I also am wondering about the diseases too, like the pox and stuff like that, because we talked about this. I remember doing a video about climate change and just before COVID, and how if we're changing the layers of the verse, right? If we're going to throw junk into the layers and it's changing, we're going to definitely have consequences from it. And this is just, I completely lost my train of thought. What I was going to say, I want to get some cards for, just while I'm looking at this chart, is just getting a nudge to pull some cards, the goddess cards here.
So the Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Leo is a conservative, old-fashioned lady is confronted by a hippie girl. The need to transcend our subservience to fashion in morals as well as clothes. And I want to say culture as well. You know, it's very interesting. We're having all these culture wars, right? The Republicans, all they can really do is, point the finger at people for what? Being wrong to be themselves, or have the rights to themselves. But
Yeah, I got Master Jesus. I knew that Amber always makes me, it's always like a Jesus-y thing for me.
well, this book that I'm reading is about the untold story of life, Anna, which is funny because I was born Anna Maria.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely feeling that energy. I don't want to always say that, like, feeling the Jesus energy, because it has so many layers of definition to so many different people. But amber, that amber smell, that is kind of Jesus energy. And that is peace in
Jesus is
crisis.
Jesus is a beautiful energy. It's the way a lot of Christians use Jesus
Exactly.
to what's justify their
Yeah.
cruelty and their exclusionary stuff. And it's really like, it's not, it's funny because I would often say I'm much more afraid of Christian fundamentalism than I ever was of Muslims. You know what I mean? Of course, I don't live in the city. I used to live in the city. We had Muslim neighbors. They were lovely people.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it's, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's kind of coming in. It's not the first time this is, you know, um, I've kind of floated through this layer of the sandwich there. And the Jesus, I'm glad that Jesus card fell out, actually. That's good. That's a good, it gives me a frame of reference to challenging events.
Well, Jesus in the tree of life sits in Tipra, the Sephirth of the sun. That's where the Redeemer gods sit. And so this is all about being in the heart. It's
Yep.
all. And when I if I'm doing meditation and Jesus comes in as an ascended master, he usually comes in as a very, very beautiful, like yellow light, like yellow like this, but like a
Mhm.
thousand times more beautiful. You know, kind of
Yeah.
like, so he's the Son of God, Son, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. All right. Okay. I know what I can meditate on. So interesting. Wow.
So I'm gonna put on my altar. I'm gonna put some amber.
Mhm.
And if I can get, I don't think I have the incense. Oh, you know what I do? I have like a little like roly things, I think, of
Yeah.
amber. I'll have
Yeah.
to, I'll have to figure out how to get a little bit of it, maybe put it in an atomizer or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this amber, amber has an electrical charge and it also connects you. This is one of the stones if you want to be, talk to the dead. This is one of the stones. And if you put
Yeah.
amber next to jet, it actually creates a current.
Yeah.
And
I'm
jet
gonna
is,
try that now. I
huh?
I didn't know that. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
it's very
is because
powerful.
there is artifact in amber. And so there is a talking to the dead kind of energy.
And this is Baltic amber. I got this in the 90s, right after the wall came down, and amber became very available. It was expensive at the time.
Yeah.
For me, it was expensive at the time. And but it is, and I don't wear it a lot, but it's very powerful stone. And
Yeah.
And I really like it, but it's like petrified sunshine,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And it's from the pine trees, and it's
Mhm.
also connected to Russia. And I was thinking about how, all this terrible stuff that's happening with Putin and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't we just connect with the women of Russia? Why don't all the women all over the world just connect with one another? And not necessarily because I can't go to Russia, or I don't know anybody really in Russia where I'd say send them a note, but energetically connect with the strength of the web of the feminine, and
Yeah.
and allow it to, like, because we're going through this surge of energy, why not have it move through the web of our connection and strengthen those connections? Because whenever I see somebody suffering because of war, it's either a woman or a child or an old lady, all these little babushkas living in the basement in the Ukraine,
Yeah.
all these families being torn apart, all these little ones, that poor little girl that was killed by a bomb or whatever, or a missile or something. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And if you go to Ethiopia and you see the people who are starving to death, they're women and children.
Hmm.
It's usually not men, because the men go into the city to see if they can get some money to feed their family,
Yeah.
and the women are usually left behind, I think. So I'm not sure about that, but that kind of makes sense to me. So there's most of the suffering is happening to the feminine, and so, to the women. Not that men don't suffer, because they certainly do. I'm sure the soldiers in the Ukraine and Russia are suffering a lot.
Yeah.
But for what? For what? That's the question. For what?
Right.
Who's gaining from this? Who's one or two people maybe? That's
Hmm.
not enough. We have to, like, work together. The interesting thing is that we are going to have Pluto go into Aquarius, right? And uh, in astrology, you evolve through your polarity point with Pluto, right? Pluto is the soul. You evolve through your polarity point. So you evolve through the polarity point of Leo. So as Pluto moves through Aquarius, we have to be more and more conscious of what our talents and abilities are and how we can share them to raise all boats. Aquarius.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
really, and
feel
and
that.
and the
Yeah.
kids do that now. Like, the younger kids are
They
into that.
do. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They're very interactive, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you need this. Let me, like, they have friends who do this and do that, and then they all get together, and then, um, and in a way, it's hard to commercialize some of that stuff, because it simply comes out of their sense of connection.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a thing
And
on.
I like that people that this is sharing your resources is important. And it's going to be probably a running theme for a long time because
Oh,
we're going to need
I
to.
mean, even with COVID, or even, like, when, if we can go back to, like, 2000, I think 18 it was, or 2019, when uh, the government workers weren't getting paid, and, like, people were just, like, feeding them and people were taking care of people during COVID. People were taking care of people. So I think our general tendency is to take care of each other, because
Yeah.
it is easier. I've painted my house by myself, and I've painted my house with other people. It's always easier when there's more than just me painting.
Mhm.
More gets done, the time goes faster, there's a camaraderie, and so we can't just isolate ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the lessons that, um, I'm not sure Liz Cheney's learning the lesson, and it's not me to judge that, but to see that one of the reasons why the January 6th Commission is working is because we have both sides of the aisle working on a common goal, instead of just trying to tear each other apart.
Yeah.
So it's really the key to, our future. From the many one, e pluribus unum, right?
Mhm.
There's a, but we're not we're e pluribus, but we're all running in opposite directions, or we're smashing into each other.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
I don't know. I think if people are just allowed to be themselves, I think things would settle down quite a bit.
And that's the key word to allowing, we're not allowing people to be themselves, or people are, trying to restrict.
Well, sometimes that happens because people don't realize what they have until they don't have it. And
Yeah.
so when you fight for it, things are gonna change. It's all changing, and we do have to sort of win the we have to
Yeah.
win the and even and I was thinking, like, even if we don't, I don't think we have to go to worst case scenarios. I think there's going to be plenty of stuff that we have to work on together. Otherwise, the people are just going to say, no, sorry, you're
Hmm.
not listening to me. Why should I listen to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be quite an exciting time, I think.
Yeah, it is an exciting time. It is. I don't want to be like a downer about it and sort of guard yourself. It's it's exciting. It's change. If you're not someone that likes change, it can be more difficult, I think. But if you just accept change is going to happen, then it might not be as hard. I don't know.
I think with the South Node in Scorpio, the lesson of Scorpio is to let go and let God really. It's a surrender. It's a surrender of your plan, what you thought was going to happen. When I had my surrender moment, Pluto was opposing my sun. That was fun, and 5 times I think it opposed it when it, some people usually happens like usually when the outer planets like do something to one of your planets, usually 3 times. And sometimes if you're really lucky, it's 5. I was really lucky. And I'm being very sarcastic about that, as you probably can imagine. But
Oh,
at that point, I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. And I just looked up and I said, okay, I let it go. I can't hold this together anymore. And what I was holding together was a version of myself and a version of my life that I couldn't have the life I have now if I hadn't been willing to let go of that. And I had no choice. I was really had no choice. I had to trust that the
yeah,
universe would catch me. And it did, and it always does.
yeah,
And knowing that faith that no matter what happens, you will be held and cradled. And you say, well, a lot of people are dying. This happens, that happens. You get a gun and the shit and this and that. But that's assuming that this is the only game in town, and it's not.
right.
This life is not the
That's
only game
hard
in town. I
for a
think we
lot of
have,
people who
I
think
know.
this is the only game in town. There are a lot of people who don't believe in the universe. Even it doesn't matter how many pictures the James Webb Telescope uh, puts out there. We're the only ones that live on this earth for one lifetime, and that's and that's it. There are people who really believe that, and that's a fear-based belief,
Yeah, right,
right?
right, right. You only have one chance. Of
Yeah.
course you're going to fail. I don't know. The first time I walked when I was a baby, I'm sure I fell on my face or my bum, most likely my bum. You know what I'm saying? So the first time you do something, you're not going to. So if you think you only have one chance in life, no wonder you're so grumpy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a lot of opportunities, just like in regular life. When we're still here, we have many opportunities to to reinvent ourselves. One of the things that when you're an entrepreneur, and that's the way you make your money, you have to consistently learn
Hmm.
how to reinvent yourself because you might be doing something that everybody's like, cool, this is great. And sometimes you have to stop doing it for whatever reason, maybe physical reason, or it's just it's not fun anymore. And then you have to figure out another way to. So it's a real, and I think that things are going to get more entrepreneurial anyway. I would just love to see everybody doing their thing and the interaction of people. um, you know you're the baker, you make the bread, and kind of like that community spirit again. And I feel like that's happening on many levels. I mean, there are many communities online, there are communities within.
Yeah.
So I think that I think
I
we have
hope
to
so.
strengthen our bonds. Love is the only way. Love is the answer,
Yeah.
right? Love is the answer. So let's love each other.
Yeah.
Let's love ourselves first, because if Leo doesn't teach us anything, it's my grandfather used to say, this was Gerlando, my grandfather Gerlando, who I never met, but heard many, many stories about my Sicilian grandfather, who used to say to my mother, don't, no one's going to say, wash your face, you look better than me. You have to be your own best advocate. That's what I added. He wouldn't have said advocate, because I don't think there was an Italian pronunciation of advocate.
No.
But yeah, so put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
Find the joy, whatever brings you joy. It's going to be a very bumpy ride, and it's going to, and
Yeah.
we have to be able to pull ourselves out of it as best we can. Be present, bear witness, but not invest, not become attached. Don't become attached to outcomes.
Yeah.
Just let it flow through you,
Mhm.
and it's going to make you more of who you are, because we're dealing with Uranus. I have Uranus on my ascendant in my chart, like within 2 degrees of my ascendant. My life has been one, get the rug pulled down from under you,
Yeah.
from one to another, right? So it's that reinvention.
Yeah.
uh, so we can do it. I did it, I've done it, I'll probably have to do it again.
Yeah.
um and it's when you get to the other side of it, you've let a lot go, and it feels really good, because I don't know about you, but I came into this life with a big
Mhm.
bag that I had to leave at the gate
Mhm.
before I could fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
E- e- Every day we're still working on it. There is no like, okay, this is over now. This is everything's, it's the
Yeah, no.
a lot of times when people ask me, how are you doing? And I tell them, if I start complaining now, I'll have nothing to talk about later on today, you know? And I say that a lot and they laugh. And it's like, there's nothing, if you've got to stay in this like little pockets of joy that you can find in whatever form and pursue it, because the next moment will change on a dime.
That's right, and you don't know.
You don't.
And like my I think for most of my life, even from a very young age, my greatest, like my aspirational desire was to live without regret, to tell people that I love them when I love them, to experience the things I could experience or I would allow myself to experience, and not to regret any of it, because everything on some level serves. Everything is a
Yeah.
lesson for the expansion of your soul and your consciousness. And we
Mhm.
are expanding at breakneck speed. That's why it feels like everything is out of control. Everything is perfectly in control. It's just a control that we're not aware of the pattern of that control. We're
Yeah.
not aware of the new patterns. It's like we just moved into a new city and they haven't put the street signs up yet.
Hmm.
And we don't have GPS. We have to look around and experience things as if we're looking at them for the first time.
Yeah.
And then start to accrue that data, and you can get a sense of where you're at and where you are. And I think that's something that the astrology really helps with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
does.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, my dear, do you have any parting words?
There'll be more to come. It's just, yeah.
I
Nice.
would love to do something on the full moon with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were gonna do that last time, but
That
because
was
of all the shit that hit the fan and on Ona's
my
on my
member leg. Oh
side
my,
of the Mississippi. Yeah, that was when your mom fell and all that stuff, and
yeah.
she had her hip. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to do it this time with the full moon. And if not, we'll do it again. But I think I want to call it moonshine.
Make sure you're sitting down when you're drinking your moonshine.
Well, moonshine could simply be, putting out a glass of your favorite beverage, covered, of course, because you don't want dust to get in the moonlight. That
Yeah.
can be the moonshine that we do.
And I do that. We put fluids out. We have water out for the full moon, and offerings and stuff like that. Yeah, I like moonshine.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's thank you so much, Owen. It's been a real
Thank
pleasure as
you.
always.
Thank you.
And so to everyone out there, stay safe. It's not about being afraid, it's about being careful, really.
Yeah,
Because again, you don't have control over everything. And to think that you do will drive you crazy. And we don't need any more crazy, I don't think, about in that respect. But
yeah,
do what you love what you do. And you never have to work a day in your life, right, Ona?
yeah, yeah. That's
At
true.
least that's the theory.
That's yeah, that's the theory. But I don't know. If you still work is therapeutic.
Says the Capricorn. Am I surprised?
Yeah, that's true. I
I,
probably, yeah,
I'm all with you. I'm all with you, sister. If I don't have a task or a job or a course or a class or a
right.
reading, I feel like adrift. I really
Yeah,
like having the focus of,
yeah,
but it has to be something I like to do. Otherwise, I don't do it. So
right.
do what you love and love what you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we
All
got
right. Um, so
Amber, New Moon, Amber, Master Jesus, being in your own. The song was what I said. The lyrics were wear your silver lining close to your skin, right?
yeah.
I like that.
And tomorrow night we have an astrology salon. If anyone wants to join us, I think we're going to dive really deeply into this new moon and maybe look into the full moon and the week ahead. If you're interested in the week ahead, you can check out my week ahead video. But it's always a little bit more interesting when people are talking about their experiences, because then you take what experiences you're having, you look at the astrological stuff, and that's really what we're trying to do here, trying to make astrology, show how astrology and the energies that are available to us uh, weave through our lives, weave through our lives. I love you,
There
sister.
we go. Love you too. Love you too.
All right, guys, we love you. Namaste, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.